Welcome back. The stunning market gains of 2023 haven't meant quite as much for small caps. You're a believer that their time has come. What should investors be looking for in small cap stocks?
Look, small caps are now just starting to outperform. That's typical as we come on back to a more risk-on position. But for small caps in particular, I think the best opportunities right now for people to look for are in the biotech space particularly. Biotech got beaten up and battered and bruised very badly. One of the worst contractions that we've seen in history, about 70% drawdown for the XBI index. And now, though, more compelling, you're starting to see the XBI stabilize 4 or 5 months ago, and more importantly, big pharma is coming back and making acquisitions. You just saw a $6 billion acquisition for Reata in the last week or two. That is just a telltale sign that big pharma knows these bargains won't last, and there's compelling drugs and therapies that are out there. We had a portfolio company, a company that we originally banked that was bought by Sanofi a couple months ago for $2.9 billion. So again, that was Prevention Bio that had a treatment for type 1 diabetes. Those drugs that have compelling unmet market needs are really now attracting interest from institutions again, and more importantly, big pharma. So I think it's rife with opportunity.
Is there a particular stock or two you'd recommend?
Yeah, I think there's two in the immunotherapy space. If you look at the kind of the 12 or 13 classifications of drugs, they've all been in the gutter over the last year or so. But immunotherapies, and particularly in cancer, is where a lot of the buzz and interest and valuation increases have been. So there's one company, Arcus, RCUS, they have a big partnership with Glaxo. I think Glaxo ultimately will acquire them. So that's one worth doing some research on. And then just full disclosure, the second company is Q Biopharma. CUE is a company that we actually co-founded and recently banked. I personally own, my family owns, and the firm owns. So I have to get all those disclosures out before I can say anything. Otherwise, we go in Finra handcuffs somewhere, which I don't want to do.
Right.
Q has a novel approach to immunotherapies that can selectively activate T cells. So you've heard a lot about CAR T, which we're activating the body's T cells to target cancer. But the downside to that is it's a broad activation. It activates all the T cells, not just the ones that target specific cancer, and it causes a lot of collateral damage. Think about, in a warfare analogy, carpet bombing the body. Don't want that, right? The object is not to kill the patient, it's to kill the cancer. Q comes along and their therapy is targeted, so it's like a laser-guided missile. So it activates just the T cells specific to that cancer, and therefore has much more efficacy. And at the same time, the data is showing it's very, very safe and tolerable. So it's definitely one to keep an eye on. They're in phase 1, moving into phase 2 in multiple indications right now.
Thank you, Lou.
Thank you.
Get today's business headlines as well as the stories behind the news every day at QZ.com.